A cliffhanger popular vote in last month's elections leads to a cliffhanger in Congress about a potential financial disaster so dire that some have dubbed it Taxmageddon. Expiring tax cuts, especially the Bush kind, sequestration, no more middle-class tax breaks, the alternative minimum tax, the deductibility of state and local taxes, education credits, and a lot of business deductions and credits, just to name a few. How will this affect you? NCPA President John Goodman has a simple, if not easy, answer.
Beginning January 1st, everyone's paycheck is going to get smaller. The weakest sectors will be hit the hardest. And the weakest sectors are the sectors where people don't have very many skills.
In short, a windfall for Uncle Sam and a shortfall for you and me. And that shortfall could mean the R word, says NCPA distinguished fellow Bob McTier.
The recession, if we get one, I think is going to come from the fiscal cliff and dangers in that area.
Then comes news late last week that the Fed may launch another bond-buying stimulus injection at next week's policy meetings. Bob McTier says, however, maybe not.
QE2 has been adding to bank reserves, but it hasn't been very stimulative because banks haven't been converting that into money. And since they announced QE3, I don't think the Fed's balance sheet has actually grown any, and the money supply is not growing much faster than it was. So I don't think the question of unwinding our exit strategy is going to come up for quite a while.
Meanwhile, the unemployment rate continues to wobble. And as NCPA senior fellow Pam Villarreal notes, fiscal cliff negotiations aren't inspiring American business owners to kickstart their hiring plans.
More than 2/3 of businesses are not hiring because of uncertainty. But one of the problems is that we have a tax system that many of the tax rates that affect businesses are due to expire the end of the year, and we don't know whether they're going to be renewed or not.
And as Villarreal continues, if our tax problems aren't enough, there's even more to be concerned about.
So as far as U.S. domestic policy, there is a lot of uncertainty with the tax code, with the health care insurance, that's causing businesses just to hold back.
That brings us to the next congressional battle, Obamacare.
Well, Obamacare either needs to be repealed or it needs to be hugely altered. One way or the other, we need to move from this top-down regulatory approach to health care to one that liberates doctors, patients, and other people in the system. There wasn't a lot of thought given to Obamacare by a single entity making sure that all the pieces fit together. It was put together by a bunch of special interests, and that's why you get this Rube Goldberg contraption.
The solutions, says Goodman, are again simple, not easy.
We need to empower patients. We need to free doctors. Basically liberate the marketplace so that patients and doctors are free to solve their own problems. Right now they're not. But I think portable insurance is really important. So your employer ought to be able to pay premiums for insurance that you own and you can take with you when you leave the job.
And as if higher taxes and government-run health care weren't enough to suppress the job market, NCPA senior fellow H. Sterling Burnett says energy poses similar problems.
If we don't get our energy policy right, we affect every other industry we work in. For every green job created, and this holds true largely here, 2.5 jobs are lost in other industries, including other energy-related industries.
The most recent NCPA Hatton W. Sumner's Foundation Distinguished Lecture Series featured CBS and 60 Minutes correspondent Steve Croft discussing media bias with Dennis McQuistion of the McQuistion Program on PBS.
I think the most important thing is to get the story right. I think that people will, and you will self-inflict much more damage if you don't get the story right than you do if you're second or third. I think that particularly on breaking news, when it is, as Dan always says, the first draft of history, there's a lot of things that you don't know. And you have to be honest and say, we don't know this. And a lot of the things that are reported right off the bat are not true.
Yeah.
At a show like 60 Minutes, where you've got no excuses, you put the story on the air when it's ready. And if you make mistakes, then you have to live with them.
Indeed. For more information about these important issues in the NCPA, please contact us. You can call us or send us an email. We want to know what you think. And thanks for your support of the NCPA and the important work we're doing.